Coconut substrates. Does it matter which one you get? Short answer, yes. We're going to break down 4 of the different chip substrates on the market today and why each of them have good benefits and then stuff that's not so good. So let's break it down. Here we go. Hey guys, today we're going to do the ultimate showdown between these substrates to see which one's the best for your animal. We're going to be looking at chip size, consistency, absorbency, how much dust there is, how long it retains the water. We're even going to be looking at the pH levels and monitoring bacteria growth. I'm going to tell you why each of these things is important and what effect it could have on your animal and why you should or should not have something that's more or less of each of these properties. So full disclosure, as y'all know, Reptichip has sponsored this channel for some time, which is another reason I wanted to do this test, is just to see, am I using the best substrate? So these 3 are coconut based, which makes you wonder, why is this one up on the chopping block? Or the CocoBlox? So usually when I tell somebody, hey, go pick up Reptichip, here's a website, whatever, they end up going into a pet store and they just think Repti product and they pick this up. So this has happened more than once. So this is why this is up here, just to show the differences between all of these substrates. But we're going to break it down, break them down. Hopefully I don't have a breakdown. And we're going to compare it all. So let's jump. So the 4 products we'll be looking at today are Reptichip Premium Coconut Substrate. We've got the CocoBlox from Freedom Breeder, CocoChip block from ProCoco, and then we've got Reptibark. These are all 10-pound blocks. Before I open them up, I'm actually going to measure them. The most compressed one is going to be Reptichip. This is going to be the least compressed one. You can compare that there. There's about 2 inches there. So yeah, as far as compression, we have Reptichip on top, CocoBlox, or CocoChip block, and then the CocoBlox is going to be the widest. So we'll see how that affects things. Let's start with CocoBlox here. CocoBlox claims to be organic, sustainable, resistant to mold, absorbs odor, not dusty. It says triple washed, and helps maintain humidity, of course. So I grabbed 2 ounces. Next up, let's look at Reptichip. Retains humidity and absorbs odors. It's not dusty or dirty. Organic and sustainable. Highest quality coconut available on the market. So, with this, we are writing Reptichip. Alright, now we got the CocoChip block. They claim that they are organic, eco-friendly, consistent quality, low salt, and low dust. Salt. The low salt, what that is, I'll explain a little bit more. It's just basically the coconuts, where they grow, and if they're coastal coconuts or if they're inland coconuts. And then, of course, we have the Reptibark. It claims to be the #1 selling reptile bark, which is really just because they're in pet stores. As far as low dust goes, I wonder if you can see that. We have a couple different ones here. So the Freedom Breeder and Reptichip are pretty similar to each other. I would say Reptichip has smaller pieces and less fibers, I would say. That's one thing about the Freedom Breeder, is there's a lot of these fibers, which, you know, these 3 all have some, but these are the most potent. All of these also have long pieces here, but these are more malleable. But in the CocoBlox chip, I found a piece and it just does not bend. It is sharp. This one even has a long piece here, and I mean it's this is a prison shank. Look at that. So this is going to be our dust and absorbency test. What I'm doing is I'm measuring until it says 10 ounces. And from there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be pouring it into the substrate. Pushing down twice. So with this one, you do see some particulates floating. Not all of those will go airborne, so that's not a crazy thing. So what we're going to do is I'm going to be putting a coffee filter over this, making sure it's nice and secure. and then I'm having it go through. Alright. So, this is how much dust we have on this one. And we are to 7.5 on this water. Alright, now let's go to the Reptichip. We've got our 10 ounces of water. Pour it onto the Reptichip. Press twice. Ooh. So right off the bat, I know that's a lot less dusty. But let's make sure with the filter here. And it's less. And then our water level changed to 4.2. 10, we're going to put it on the 2 ounces of substrate. This one wants to float, except some pieces down there on the bottom, but it wants to float kind of as a unit. Press twice. So this one's also looking like it's a lot less dusty. No, there's some on the top there. It's got some floating on the top, but definitely not as much as the Freedom Breeder. Again, we're going to throw this filter. It's pretty clean. Our water level, 6.8. So this one goes for second place. It's the CocoBlox chip. Second most absorbent. Reptichip has blown away the others. And we're going to throw this to our Reptibark. Is it dusty? There's some that went to the bottom, which I'm not surprised, but all of this is floating. All of it went straight to the top. We are going over. Oh my gosh. 8.2. I mean, it already lost. This just isn't absorbent. And then there were some chunks there that just stuck to the filter. Filter weighs 2, probably because of all the chunks there. But yeah, our water still weighs 8.5. As far as absorbency goes, Zoomed obviously took last place. Not absorbent at all. Freedom Breeder took third. It had the water still weighed 7.5 ounces after we drained it, and then the CocoBlox chip weighed 6.8 for second, and then Reptichip astoundingly just absorbed all of it, and the water afterwards weighed only 4.2 ounces. So that Reptichip clear winner in absorbency, but we still have more tests to do. So the more acidic something is, the more that bacteria has been able to breathe, live, die. So what we're going to do is we took these numbers right out the box. The most acidic was the Reptibark. The least acidic was actually the Freedom Breeder CocoBlox. That was the most neutral, closest to 7. And then followed by Reptichip in second, and then the CocoChipBlock in third. That doesn't mean much yet. What we're actually going to look for is over these next 30 days is if the numbers change dramatically. So I'm going to put these in a rack. I'm going to put all these substrates in a rack with one of my animals, and then we're going to compare the numbers in 30 days. So let's put these up, and then let's put some animals on it. So it's been 30 days. Excuse the mess. Excuse the lack of exactly cinematic lighting. I'm getting ready for an event in Louisiana this weekend, so everything's kind of getting moved around right now. But I'm at 30 days, so I wanted to go ahead and test the pH again. I have both the stagnant water studies to just check mold inhibitors, bacteria growth, different things like that. And then I have actually on live animals. So I had a bunch of block left over, so I didn't only do it in this one where I was doing the specific studies, but I did it in a lot of my animals because I wanted to test what it's like to use it consistently, and so I ended up using all the blocks. just to, find user-friendly stuff, I didn't use the Reptibark. I just, I didn't feel okay with keeping my animals on it that long. I don't like the fur bark. It's just too harsh, doesn't hold the humidity, and so I just did that with the stagnant study. But one thing I did find is the excess of these fibers. I really didn't like. I just felt that there was a risk if I put a frozen thawed rat in there and my snake wrapped it up. I didn't want him catching the fibers, getting in his mouth. And I just felt that was a pretty high risk with the CocoBlox. And just using it, spot cleaning, I didn't like it. So, as far as usability, I know I've been using Reptichip, so there's definitely my bias there. But yeah, the CocoChip, it's not as, it's definitely not as fibrous as the CocoBlox. It's definitely closer consistency to the Reptichip. So as far as usability, I didn't notice a major difference between the two. But here we are. We're going to check the pH. We're going to check bacteria growth, and we'll see which one stands out. Alright, so visual test, we have your CocoChip, we have your CocoBlox, and then we have your Reptichip. Now Reptichip and CocoChip both look alright. But I've got some real bad discoloration in your CocoBlox. I'm talking some gray pieces. I've got a real bad looking piece right here. Now remember, all of these had the same amount of water put in them. So there's some discoloration there. But just continually adding, the same water, same amount of water. It's getting some discoloration. So that's not a real good thing in my book. I wasn't too happy with seeing that. But, and then also here's all those fibers I was talking about. Real fibrous. Reptichip is going to be the best both with an animal and without an animal as far as maintaining pH value, which means less bacteria is growing. Second place is going to be the CocoBlox chip. Both of those saw a major increase with an animal, which is, of course, why everyone recommends changing it every 6 weeks. And then the CocoBlox had a major increase in acidity on both off an animal and on an animal. So that one came in last place, pretty surprisingly. So yeah, there was stuff I liked about all of them. There was stuff I didn't like about all of them. But I mean, ultimately, I'm sticking with Reptichip. Yeah, they sponsor the channel, but that's why I did this video, is I wanted to test it up against other substrates. As far as my animals go, I like to give them the best quality care that I can. And this is going to be something they live on, breathe, feed, eat, poop. Of course, all of it's going to be better than aspen, which molds when it gets wet. So as far as maintaining humidity, each one is definitely going to be better than aspen. But yeah, you've looked at it all. If you get a different result, let me know, talk to me. And yeah, ultimately the goal is to raise the standard of how we keep our animals. So this is why I did this video. Let's start a discussion. Leave comments down below. If you have questions, I'd be happy to help. But again, I appreciate you guys watching. I'll see you guys next time. Be sure to like this video and subscribe. Thanks, guys.